to seek shelter there because those winds will be coming through. The National Weather Service, which is located in Sullivan, so out to the west of this tornado warning, has reported long-term winds around 50 to 70 miles per hour. So that is what you're going to be anticipating if you're in places, Eagle probably already feeling that, but into places like Mugwanago, which is going to be arriving here in just a minute, some of those stronger winds. Waterford also going to be seeing some of those stronger winds moving in right now, just looking at some rain and some lightning there. Into Big Bend, if you're in Big Bend, we're going to continue to see this storm roll through around 10:48 p.m. There are also some reports back to the west, once again, of strong winds, some down trees, a bit closer to Interstate 39. This is just an indication that even though we're not seeing spin-ups, these winds are very strong and damaging, and they will continue to move on through. So Mugwanago right now going to continue to see those strong winds push in. Waukesha, you're not included. The city of Waukesha not included in the tornado warning, but you're just on the edge of that. So I would say there, still act like you're in the tornado warning because we are going to still see some pretty strong winds roll through there as well. And then this will likely continue to move to the east, as we've seen all night, rushing to the east. So in places like Franklin, where it's dry, we do still want to be on our toes here as the night continues on, and we're still under a severe thunderstorm warning there. So going to clear out so we can kind of see the warnings for you a little bit better. Once again, Racine, Kenosha, under that severe thunderstorm warning now until 11:30 p.m. That also does include Walworth County as well. So if you're in Delavan, you are not going to get the strongest of the winds, but you will feel some of those stronger, some of the winds gusting through. But we'll continue to see this severe thunderstorm warning in effect once again until 11:30 p.m. That's the latest one that's been issued. Milwaukee, 11:15 p.m. severe thunderstorm warning. And then Mark continues to track out our tornado warning. That is until 11 p.m. And that core right now coming through places like Mugwanago, Genesee, and still seeing some pretty strong winds out to Eagle, Mark.
Yeah, no question, strong winds there. Again, 50 to 70 miles per hour. The National Weather Service has mentioned it right there, that little circle that's known as the cone of silence. That is really close to where this is. And so we're seeing the strong winds. The radar indication is not as ugly as it was earlier when it was going through Eagle, but nonetheless, these are also moving very, very rapidly. We've got cameras all over the place, and I want to kind of show you what it looks like outside in a lot of different vantage points. We're going to start you off in Milwaukee. We'll take you around much of southeastern Wisconsin here. Fairly quiet at the moment. That's not going to be the case. Milwaukee, this is coming. I know you've already had a little bit of rain, but there's going to be a lot more rain that's coming. To the U.S. Bank we go, and we'll take you down to German Fest, which is pretty much done for the night, and it's good. You don't want this. Everybody should be getting out of there before this next round moves in. We'll go to Brady Street, too, it's home of the Brady Street Festival this weekend. Thankfully, the weather for this weekend is going to be much, much nicer. Oh, that was quite the lightning strike there. To Oconomowoc we go, where you're in the midst of getting hit with that heavy rain, strong winds. Don't be surprised if some of these winds gust over 60 miles per hour or so. To the airport we go from Mitchell. Not a whole lot there. Looks like we're rather on the dark side. But let's show you what's going on in Waukesha. This is from Carroll University. We've got the rain that has moved into Waukesha. Temperatures, of course, have dropped because of this rain moving in. We'll take you out to Landmark Credit Union. That's in Brookfield. This is looking to the east. So I-94 is fine right now, but that whole area of rain is still going to be moving in there. To New Berlin, you're getting hit right now, or just about ready to get hit again. This will be some strong winds. You might be in that same line where these strong winds have been already rolling through southern portions of Waukesha County. Let's head over to Delavan, where you've been hit kind of repeatedly, and it's still raining there right now from our camera located at Lake Lawn Resort. Let's get back out to the radar. We'll show you the latest on the updates here. This is pushing in, and kind of also give you the update on all the different warnings because a huge chunk of the area is getting warned. An interesting radar picture here in terms of what we've got happening, because normally you wouldn't think of a tornado warning with something that looks like this, because we got rain on one side, rain on the other. Usually you would have no rain, and then you'd have an area of wind that would be working with this, but we have strong winds regardless of this. So let's put this back into motion, and we'll watch this moving again very quickly. This is a 1-minute update, so it doesn't look like it's moving very quickly, but it is making some big headway as it's moving to the east. This will be affecting the entire metro area. Will be getting hit. If you aren't already, you're going to get hit by strong winds, hopefully not the really damaging winds that we've seen in a couple of locations already into Dodge County and, of course, into parts of, it looked like a little piece of Jefferson County moving into southwestern Waukesha County. This, though, continues to make its way through. The warnings for all of Racine and Kenosha and a big chunk of Walworth County, all of Milwaukee County, a good chunk of Washington County, a lot of Waukesha County and Ozaukee County, severe thunderstorm warning. But the one that obviously that kind of sticks out for you is the warning that's right there in the middle, which is the red polygon. That's the tornado warning. Let's go back in, kind of looking where these strong winds are located. And I want to zoom you back in. They really still are showing a really nasty punch here. Don't like the looks of this. We're likely going to be seeing a fair amount of power outages on this. Any of these, the problem is when you see these kind of colors, you're like, what in the world does that mean? It means that what this radar can do, it doesn't just find where the rain is coming down, but it finds how fast these raindrops are moving. And so when they're moving, it shows how fast the wind is blowing. And right now it is blowing very strong away from the radar. And again, there's a little bit of a notch in here that I'm not fond of. This moving through Mukwonago as that tornado warning continues. The Weather Service just put an update on this as well as they're following this along. So this is right on the Racine as well as Waukesha County line. This is Walworth County in here. The worst part of the storm is literally over Mukwonago right now. So you need to be in shelter in Mukwonago, and then you need to be in shelter if you're in Vernon, if you're in Muskego, if you're around Big or Little Muskego Lakes, then extending to the south. This is not any better from what I'm seeing on radar. Waterford, Rochester, you were the areas that got slammed earlier with big hail, and now to add insult to injury, you're getting hit by these very strong winds and likely damaging winds. I want to see what the radar is looking at on these winds, see what kind of wind speed that we're dealing with here, because I think we may have some really nasty stuff that's pushing just to the south of Mukwonago, 71-mile-per-hour winds. Again, this is a tiny bit aloft, but not by much. Be ready in Waterford, right along Highway 20 here, 68-mile-per-hour winds. Rochester, 78-mile-per-hour winds. If those are translating down to the surface, we're going to have a huge amount of power outages. There's going to be tons of trees down. I hope that it's not that all the way down to the surface, but I have a feeling it is pretty close to that. With more on what's happening out there right now, let's head back over to meteorologist Dajia Swat.
So we're going to look at some of the cities that Mark has mentioned and some that are not in the warning, but we'll continue to see the rain, the lightning, and the strong winds that have been with us throughout much of tonight. So in what I have tracked out here is this zone, and let me get my little pencil out for you, is this zone here. This is where I started the storm track, where we're seeing the strongest wind, where Mark has just pointed out we have winds around 70 miles per hour. So from that point, if you're in places like Vernon, Mukwonago, Waukesha now, feeling those strong winds, that's going to continue here, moving to the east and even some cases a little to the northeast. So in the Franklin, in about 10 minutes, you're going to start to notice the core of that storm coming through. You might already be noticing some of the light rain and looking at the beautiful light show that's out there. But beauty comes with a bit of danger here tonight as we continue to see these storms roll to the east. So in places like Greendale, you also want to know that that you're still under that severe thunderstorm warning that could be coming your way here in the next 15 minutes. Brookfield 1054, you could start to see some of that heavier rain and some of those stronger winds starting to progress into your area. And we're going to continue to see that in places like Hales Corner as well. So getting into Milwaukee County here, where many of us have been out and about tonight. There's also River West 24 going on. I know if you know anyone there, it's a big community event. We just want to make sure everyone's inside somewhere safe while these storms pass through, as we continue to see severe thunderstorm warnings as well as as this tornado watch that's still in effect. I would like to point out that the National Weather Service did extend, our computer hasn't updated just yet, but they did extend our severe thunderstorm they did extend that severe thunderstorm watch. It continues until 12 a.m. So even if we start to see some of these warnings die down, there's still going to be an opportunity here for some of that energy to get rumbling, to get going. As I mentioned, whether you're in the tornado warning or not, maybe just in that severe thunderstorm warning, you still want to take this seriously in places like Greendale, New Berlin, but where we're once again still seeing some of those stronger storms and winds are in places like Big Bend as well as Vernon, and now pressing into New Berlin as well as into Muskego. So all things to keep in mind. May be quiet in your area right now, but it will be ramping up here shortly for those not seeing the strong winds just yet, Mark.
Thank you, Dodge. Appreciate it. Yeah, let's really kind of show you. It really stands out. We don't always show what's known as a velocity product, but what this is doing is showing the strongest winds. And right now, that's what's slamming Waterford and Rochester. You're getting hit very hard. This is going to go right along Highway 20. This is heading towards Yorkville, Union Grove. You need to be ready for these strong winds as well. Again, you may not be in the warning, the tornado warning, but you're still going to be in some serious trouble because these winds really don't matter if it's a tornado warning or not. That was issued because of that little notch. We still have a bit of that notch that's working its way pretty close to Wind Lake right now. This is along Loomis, Highway 36. Pretty close now. Again, Muskego, you're there. It's just right on the Milwaukee County line, but the worst part is what's in here. Let's go to the cameras from the Department of Transportation. This is in Muskego. Let's go ahead and take this full for a second. And again, there are a lot of people that are out on the roads. I really wish I didn't see this because I would love for you just to wait until this is done. This is I-43 at Crowbar Road. Seeing quite a bit of traffic. Quite a bit of traffic when you're in the middle of a tornado warning is not a good recipe for good outcomes. So please, if you can wait this out, it's not going to take that long. These storms are flying along. They are moving very rapidly to the east at about 50 miles per hour. And so if you haven't had the strong winds yet, you're still going to get the strong winds. That includes in Milwaukee. So I'm going to go and take the wider view here, and we'll show you what's happening around the rest of southeastern Wisconsin as well, and we'll leave the wind on. This is the main game. What's happening here now into Racine County, this will work its way into parts of Kenosha County, and then into southern sections of Waukesha County. This is missing a lot of the main populated areas, but that's not any token to say that's okay, because we're getting hit in a lot of these spots. This is very, very strong winds. And again, don't be surprised if there's a lot of power outages. Just to let you know, that is a flash flood warning around from Madison. So let's think about it. We've gone from drought to flash floods. It's one thing we haven't even really talked about all that much on these storms. There's a huge amount of rain. Most of that is going to be good news. Let's head out to Waukesha. We've got very heavy rain there, and we've got the strong winds. You can see the camera bouncing around a bit, and lots of lightning as well. And so this is just, well, let's just wait this out. We still have the tornado warning. I don't see anything that shows me that there's rotation that's ongoing, but what I've seen is that we've got these incredible winds that are blowing through the area, especially southern Waukesha County into northern sections, especially northwestern sections of Racine County. But if this holds together downstream, it's Yorkville, it's Caledonia, it's Sturtevant, it's the city of Racine, it's Wind Point, it's possibly into Franklin as well as Oak Creek as well. Let's head on back. I'm going to take some other pictures. Let's take this full, and we'll go through some of our camera network here and talk about some of the other areas that could be getting hit. I'm going to take you into Oak Creek. We'll see what that looks like now as this will be heading. This is the quiet before this moves in. Our camera located in Franklin. That's from the Rock Sports Complex. And the rain will be moving in. If you're in these areas, be ready because it's going to be coming down pretty fast and furious. To Waukesha we go. This is our camera located at Carroll University. We've got the strong winds hitting the lens here. We've got, you can see the rain. I'm watching the trees, see what kind of winds we've got. Pretty powerful. Doesn't look like anything that's knocking anything down, but it's just south of you that's a little bit worse. Let's go into New Berlin as well and see if if we get any of that that's rolling through. Can't see a whole lot here. We got some pretty heavy rain that's pushing through. So all around southeastern Wisconsin, there's definitely a whole bunch that's still going to go through. We've got to get through the next about 45 minutes, and that should really help as we show you what we're talking about here. This is the end. This is the back edge. So once we get to the back edge of this and we move this out, then we're going to be fine. But we have to get through. We got to get through that end game so we can still have those strongest winds in the area of the tornado warning and the area just south of that as well, into parts of Racine County and into southeastern sections of Waukesha County. That's going to push into, look at how fast this is moving. And again, this is on a minute-by-minute basis, but this is going to be out here probably in about a half an hour. That's how fast this is going, and this is really moving very, very quickly. Again, after this is out, things will quiet down, but we have to get through these warnings that are still ongoing, and that we still have certainly some issues with this tornado warning that continues. That goes until 11 o'clock. So we have about 3.5 more minutes. I don't think we're going to see additional warning. Daji, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I mean, even if we look at the radar compared to how it was 30 minutes ago, right, to now, we don't have as much lightning. Even though we do still have some strong winds out there, National Weather Service is saying that the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have in place for places like Fond du Lac, Washington County, as well as Jefferson and Walworth, as well as Waukesha County, are going to expire on time. So that is a good indication, another indication that these storms are moving quickly and they're also losing some of their power. Don't get me wrong, we are still concerned about some of those stronger winds, especially around the tornado warning there that will be expiring soon. Just like Mark had on that wide look, you can see dry conditions on the backside of this. So if you still want to continue your night, you will have the opportunity to do that. We just have to make it through a tad bit longer. Want to zoom in for you, show you what we have going on radar for Milwaukee County. Milwaukee still on the light side with the rain. Bayview might be noticing just a few sprinkles starting to move on in, as well as in the Cudahy, but most of that is back through West Allis, Greenfield, Greendale, Franklin. We're seeing a decent amount of rain. And I was looking earlier, some areas close to the southern half of Milwaukee, close to a half an inch with rainfall from so far today. So it'll be interesting once this next batch of rain rolls through how much we get. We are under severe drought. Unfortunately, it does come with some severe weather, Mark.
So true. I mean, it is a trade-off. I'm hoping, and we're going to talk about power outage numbers in just a little bit, I'm hoping it's not too bad around southeastern Wisconsin in terms of those power outages and what kind of damage we're going to be dealing with, but I think there's definitely going to be some trouble. Some of you are not going to have air conditioning probably for the night as with this continuing to move through. We'll bring you back into southeastern Wisconsin. We still have that tornado warning for just a little bit. It's the strongest winds outside of the tornado warning. Doesn't matter. It's still really strong. We're likely going to see damage working its way now into Franksville, Caledonia, heading right over 41, 7 Mile Fair, working all the way down to Racine, Mount Pleasant, Wind Lake, extending up to Oak Creek as well. That area in here, that's getting hit the hardest right now. And let's get a look at some of our cameras here. I want to take you to our Landmark Credit Union camera, and we'll talk about what's happening in Brookfield. You can see this is the rain is sheets of rain coming off the camera here. You can see over the building there at Landmark Credit. I-94 is right here. Traffic moving along very, very slowly. I'm sure that's going to be the case. Just up the road, we've got our Jilly's Car Wash camera. That's right on Blue Mound and Moreland. And you can, oh man, look at that coming through. We'll sit here for a second. You can watch those sheets of rain. So very heavy rain. This is what's going to head into Milwaukee in just a little bit. We've got from State Fair. Thankfully, State Fair is not happening right now because that would not be good. But let's get a look from our cameras located here in Milwaukee. This is looking out to the west. Not as much lightning as there was before, but certainly we're waiting. This is going to still hit southeastern Wisconsin. It'll move through. Let's go to our camera located this down to the Milwaukee River. Temperature 72 degrees. Now, Oconomowoc, things have probably quieted down nicely for you, and it's all moved through. That's how fast this is moving. It is flying through, and then you're going to be all right after it moves out for the rest of the night and then for the rest of the weekend. We just had to get through. Look how cold the temperatures have dropped because of these strong thunderstorms. Still raining in Waukesha. Doesn't look as windy as it was before as we were trying to check out those trees. I want to head over to Mequon, see what things look like there as we take you to Concordia University. Certainly the rain, the wind here as well. Not as windy there as we've seen in some of the other spots, especially into southern sections of Waukesha County. Nice lightning, though. My goodness. We've got still a decent lightning show. Put lightning back on here and see. There's still plenty of lightning heading through Ozaukee County right now. Not nearly as much. Now we're just getting really a chunk of heavy rain. Notice, though, the tornado warning is done, and that certainly is good news. This will continue to make its way to the east. This is going to hit downtown literally in about 5 minutes. The rain is going to be coming. We're going to hear it on top of our roof here at 19th and Wells. With more on the power outages, let's head back to Patrick and Kristen.
All right, Mark, thank you. And those active weather, those strong winds creating more than 20,000 customers without power. That's according to the We Energy's outage map. The majority are in Jefferson and Kenosha counties, with more than 7,600 customers out in Kenosha County.
In the city of Kenosha, more than 6,300 customers are out there. Nearly 1,300 customers are out in the town of Summers. Now, in Jefferson County, 8,200 customers are without power right now. That includes more than 5,000 in Fort Atkinson. And before we send it back over to Mark and Daji, just want to take a look at the outage map right now. It does update every 10 minutes or so, so we should be getting an update any moment. But as we click on the counties over here on the map, we're also keeping an eye on Dodge County. We've seen the outages grow there to 1,900 customers without service in Dodge County, and over in Walworth County, 1,200 customers without service right now. So certainly keeping an eye on that, Mark. Those numbers have been rising throughout the night as that storm pushes through.
Yeah, it's a fast-moving storm, too, but those outages going from 8,000 earlier to now more than 20.
I think that number, sadly, is going to go up. I said 5 minutes. I was wrong, guys. It was about 2.5 minutes, and now it's raining very heavily here at the station. So the tornado warnings, we're done with those. I don't think we'll see any more. That's great news. We're still getting a lot of strong winds, though, and we're still going to see these storms. This is now pushing into Milwaukee County right now, and so that's the area that's getting hit. We'll take you into downtown. I'll go to Deer District. Probably not raining there just yet. Oh, no, I'm wrong there again. It's moving so quickly, it's happening right now. So we've got, look at the wind blowing the trees around down in Deer District so you can really get an idea. I hope nobody's left at German Fest. You really shouldn't be. That would not be a good place to be right now as this is moving in. This was the concern. Notice the camera shaking so much from the top of the U.S. Bank building. This is, of course, zooming back down onto Henry Meyer Festival Park, the Summerfest grounds. And so by tomorrow, it's going to be great. German Fest is going to be awesome. You're going to be just fine. But in the meantime, it's not so nice. Very strong winds blowing through. We'll take you down to the lakefront. And we've got the rain that's made its way through here. I'm just watching the trees down from Discovery World. Nothing stands out that looks like it's terrible out there in terms of wind. And then things should continue to improve. We'll head to the Brady Street camera. This should probably be moving around a bit. Yeah, this is just getting hit right now, just straight, because this is looking to the west. That's Brady Street right here. And it's just taking this right in the chops. So we've got the rain that's continuing to come down. We still have warnings, and I do want to kind of go back over the warnings that do continue. Let's talk about our current alerts that we have right now in southeastern Wisconsin. The watch continues until midnight. That's going to be allowed to expire. They're going to trim these off because once this is out, it's out. We're done. We're going to be done with anything else. But we still have the warning for Ozaukee County, parts of Washington County, parts of Waukesha County. This is moving so fast, though, you're almost done in Waukesha County. Milwaukee County, you're getting hit. The hardest you're going to get hit all night is right now. Very, very heavy rain. Some of that is good. There's going to be a lot of runoff, but it's better than nothing in terms of helping our drought out. Racine and Kenosha, you're getting hit really hard right now, especially into Racine County in terms of wind. And the warnings continue for you until 11:30 and for Milwaukee County until 11:15. Let's get out outside I-94 Highway 100. Oh, we've got some issues here. Not surprised to see some problems here. Wouldn't be surprised if there's some street flooding, some ponding on the roads, watching that big truck going around, not sure what has happened there, or people looks like maybe they were just trying to take shelter underneath that overpass. Be careful when you're doing that, folks. I don't recommend that either. Because what it does is create bigger hassle. Sometimes you'll see people actually staying under overpasses and they're not even on the shoulder. So that can create a bigger traffic issue. So these severe thunderstorms with very heavy rain continue. Again, I-94 near Highway 100. The watch, again, continues until midnight, but it will not make it till midnight because these storms will be moving out. It's that fast. Everything is moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. And so you can see there's on the back edge. Now there's still some lightning on the back edge, but that's it. It's not going to be severe. So this is moving through Milwaukee right now from Shorewood, extending to Fox Point, Whitefish Bay, all the way through Fox Point, Bayside, Mequon, through Port Washington and Grafton and Saukville. You're getting hit the hardest you're going to get hit right now. Then that extends down to Oak Creek. Real quick, I want to take a look at our Oak Creek camera because it's probably got a pretty good shot of this strong winds and rain blowing in. You can see that here. And so, at Drexel Town Square. So this continues, still have some strong winds. Just give it a little bit more time. This will move out over Lake Michigan and things will start to quiet down. Patrick and Kristen?
Well, Mark, you mentioned German Fest at Meyer Festival Park. We actually have a crew there right now.
Yeah, let's go to 12 News' Emily Pofall, who is there. Emily, it looks like it's coming down out there.
Yeah, like Mark just said, we are getting slammed right now. It feels like we're in the thick of it. This is the worst it's been all night. The grounds are empty now. German Fest has been over for a little bit. Everyone's filtered out. But I just want you to take a look at what we're seeing right now as far as weather. Just sheets of rain. You can see the gondola ride up top. Those gondolas are moving back and forward because the wind is so strong. Sheets of rain. We're getting pelted. We did see some lightning just a moment ago, but really you can't see much here anymore. Mark.
All right, Emily Pofall on Milwaukee's lakefront right now at Meyer Festival Park for German Fest. Obviously, as she said, people have left the grounds right there, but that rain really is coming down. We can hear it above us here at the studio.
We can, and the festival wrapping up early, too, because the festival grounds is supposed to be open until midnight for the German Fest, but we saw from Emily's live shot that things are clearing out, and it really is coming down right now. Very active weather, moving fast, too.
We have a view in here that you can't see on the air, but just looking at some of the images coming out of Oak Creek right now, Mark, that wind is really whipping out there.
Ask and he shall receive,
yeah, okay.
Patrick.
All right, there we go.
We'll take you back to that Oak Creek camera. Yes, this is the hardest it's going to be. Look at the trees bending back and forth. Bigger concern is really what's happening in Racine. That's where we're getting even stronger winds. And so I know we have a lot of power outages already. We're probably going to get an even larger number as we work our way through the next couple of hours. So let's go. We'll take you to our camera located at Myatt as well. And so this is looking down at the Milwaukee River. Can't see a whole lot there. We'll take you back into Deer District again and kind of get an idea of what's happening there. And this is pretty protected most of the time because, of course, you got Fiserv and the new hotel, and then you've got everything else with all the entertainment options around. But you can still see those trees blowing around a bit. Let's head down to Cathedral Square as well. Not seeing anything, but of course that heavy rain continuing to come down. Just give it a little time. As I mentioned, we don't have much more to get through. It's almost at the end. It is moving out, and so that certainly is good news. The warning, the tornado warning is done. We still have some severe thunderstorm warnings, including, it's really the strongest storms now moving out of Ozaukee County. Still have certainly some heavy rain there. We've got very heavy rain extending into downtown Milwaukee right now, right up through Shorewood. Then another batch that we just saw pushing through Oak Creek, and then this final batch down to the south through Racine and Kenosha. Again, your warning there goes until 11:30. Your warning for Milwaukee County, that goes until 11:15. And so, again, these storms are moving so quickly to the east at about 50 miles per hour. The warnings will likely be allowed to expire, cancel early, and then, again, the watch will be allowed to expire early as well, because once these storms move out, we're going to be much, much quieter. And so thankfully, hopefully we can get through this without too much in the way of power outages, but it has been a very active evening here in southeastern Wisconsin.
Yes, it has. More than 20,000 without power right now in our area. But we do have another crew that is in Walworth County right now.
Caroline Reinwald is in Elkhorn. And Caroline, it looks like the wind is whipping out there as well.
Yeah, it really has been whipping out here, Patrick, and quite a bit of rain as well. And it's slowed down a bit in the last 10, 15, 20 minutes. But if I step out of the way, you can see it's a little dark, but you can kind of see just how heavy that rain is and the wind pushing it across the parking lot here. We're under a gas station overhang here in Elkhorn, and we've seen a few motorists running through here trying to fill up on gas. One guy actually was unfortunate enough to get a flat tire out in this weather. But, maybe just half an hour ago, we saw really heavy winds, really heavy rain out here in Elkhorn, and trash cans blowing around the area. So right now, this is actually tame compared to what we saw half an hour ago out here. But thankfully, not a lot of motorists that we've been encountering on the roadway, or too many, I should say, maybe here or there, a truck or two. So just suggesting that people stay off the roadways until this heavier rain has kind of dissipated a little bit.
They're playing it safe out there. And as you mentioned, Kristen, more than 20,000 customers without power right now in Walworth County, where Caroline is right now. More than 1,200 customers are without power.
And we see that heavy rain, the strong winds. Mark has said time and time again, do not drive in if you don't have to, because this is a very powerful storm. And Mark, a lot of thunder strikes that we saw too on the radar.
Oh man, there's a lot of lightning. This is a powerful event that's rolling through, and it's not done yet. One last gasp of the strong winds. I want to take you back in and how we kind of dissect the storm with velocity. We're not finished with the damage reports. We're not finished with the power outages. This whole area in here, that like bowling ball that's rolling into Kenosha right now, that's trouble. That is likely going to be producing another 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts right into the city. Pleasant Prairie, right into Kenosha. It doesn't look as bad in Racine, but maybe on the south side of Racine. And you saw some of those wind gusts in Oak Creek. That wasn't the strongest. The strongest is what's happening right now that's moving into Kenosha as we speak. Burlington, you probably got hit pretty hard. What's interesting is that the area that got hit by the big hailstones earlier in Mukwonago and then in Waterford, you got hit the same way, as strong as it was that with the hail. You got hit in the same way with these very strong winds. That was the area that produced the tornado warning for a time when there was a little notch on that. But even without the tornado warning, again, I said this earlier, but I'll say it again, a 70 mile per hour wind, whether it's straight line winds, whether it's a microburst, or whether it's a tornado, they do the same amount of damage. And so a 70 mile per hour wind can do a lot. It can knock down a bunch of trees. And a lot of times those trees are next to power lines, and those power lines come down. So again, this is the last punch here that's rolling through. Let's bring it out full again if you guys don't mind. And we'll kind of zoom into the area that's getting hit now the hardest. And this is still under severe thunderstorm warning. And a lot of times, severe thunderstorm warning, no biggie. Well, this one is a biggie. This one's got, all right, town of Summers, Paris, extending back out to Wheatland and Salem, and moving right into Pleasant Prairie. This is really strong winds, probably 60 miles per hour as it rolls in right into the city. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we get a lot more reports of damage. What's interesting, as we take you back to the regular radar, it doesn't look like a whole lot. You can see, notice how it bows out a little bit there, but it doesn't look as impressive right here. It's all the strong winds are right behind that bow, and we're bringing in probably the rear inflow jet from aloft is getting pushed down into the surface. And so those are the strong winds that are cruising through the area right now. And it's really Kenosha. You're kind of the last area that's going to get hit by these strongest winds. Then it's going to move out over the lake. We've still got some strong winds, though, and some very heavy rain in through parts of Ozaukee County, heading up into Sheboygan County. We'll get a couple more views of some of our other cameras. We haven't taken into Sheboygan yet. This is from the camera located at Blue Harbor Resort. And we've got the rain coming down. That's the new South Pier as it's all been finished. It's gusty, but it's mainly just rain. And most of this is good news. We need the rain, but I know it's coming with some cost for some of you for sure. We'll jump over to Road America on the other side of Sheboygan County. Over at Elkhart Lake. Rain looks like it's still coming down, but it doesn't look very windy at all. Big event there for tomorrow with the NASCAR Xfinity race. I want to go to Mequon as well. We'll take you to the campus of Concordia University. I'll get out of the way where you can see some of this. It's still raining. We still got the winds. It hasn't been as strong, thankfully, in our northern counties. It was early when it hit Dodge County, but then the southern part of the storm kind of took over in the areas that were getting hit the hardest. We'll go to Discovery World again and kind of take a look here into southeastern Wisconsin, into Milwaukee, and that looks a lot quieter than it did even just a little bit ago. So things here, at least in the metro area, are quieting down some, but it's still, as mentioned, we still have those strong winds blowing through Kenosha right now. And that is something that, give it another 20 minutes or so. Notice how they just kind of they've taken a little bit more of that warning off. And with more on that, let's head back over to meteorologist Dajia Swad.
So we're going to start you in the same place that Mark just had you, the wide view of across our area, what we're experiencing, finally seeing some relief in places like Beaver Dam, as well as into the western side of Fond du Lac. But as we head out to the east in Sheboygan, Port Washington, Milwaukee, Oak Creek, and as we mentioned, into Racine and Kenosha counties, even back through Walworth, we're still looking at a lot of rain. Some areas in Milwaukee County, especially the northern half, have seen over an inch of rain as this continues to move through. We'll continue to try to bring you some updated totals. And if you have a rain gauge at your house, let us know what you're seeing. You can send us that information on Twitter. Want to dive into the winds once again, because that is what we have left over. That's what's causing these power outages that can be irritating, especially when we've had a hot day and we just want to cool off. So if you are without power, once again, try to reach out tomorrow morning and make sure you're reaching out to We Energies to let them know that you don't have power. And the reason we're saying that, some of these elevated winds are pretty gusty coming in. Once again, these are above the surface, but mixing down around 70 miles per hour in places like just to the west of Summers, as well as into to the north, well, I should say in Pleasant Prairie and near Bristol. So if you're in those areas, even to the east, leading into Kenosha, you're going to continue to feel these winds as this moves to the east. That severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect here across our area, and it's mainly because of the winds. The rain and the lightning has calmed down, but that wind is still going to be a nuisance, especially across our southern counties. Once again, into Milwaukee, we're starting to notice some improvements. I can say here the rain is not as shocking on the ears. It was coming down the roof pretty heavy. And we'll continue to see this continue to move out. But if you're in our southern counties, just expect those gusty winds to continue here over the next 15 minutes or so. Patrick, Kristen?
All right, Daji, thank you very much. All hands on deck right now in our newsroom with storm coverage. So we've brought in 12 Sports Director Dario Melendez.
Yeah, Dario is right outside our station, just checking on the outcome out there. Dario, is it pouring out there? We can kind of hear it coming down.
Yeah, it's real wet outside, as you can tell. I'm at 19th and Wells right now. The Milwaukee Rescue Mission is right across the street from our station here at WISN. You can kind of hear the thunder going on right now. There's been a lot of lightning. When we zoom in a little bit, you could just see. I mean, it is that slanted rain, that hard, heavy rain that you get used to when you grow up in Florida like I did. But, man, it has been coming down. And the interesting part is throughout the night I've been making calls all over southeast Wisconsin, from Beaver Dam down to Muskego. I can tell you right now, the folks in Beaver Dam were extremely nervous about what was happening up there. The Quick Trip employees that I spoke to said they had to shut down for 30 minutes because they were so scared to go outside because of that tornado warning. I also spoke with some folks in Mukwonago and Muskego as well. Hadn't really reached them yet, but they can kind of see it coming. They were preparing. One of the bars I spoke to, one of the bartenders, said they were about to close down early so they can get all their patrons back home safely and out of this weather that is obviously moving their way. But yeah, right now it seems like, and again, I'm no Mark Baden, but it seems like it's starting to slow down a little bit. It's still very heavy. As you can see, I mean, it's just raining sideways outside of our station right now. But the good news is it seems like it's starting to calm down. I'm not sure about any tornado warning. Ooh, I say it's about to calm down, and then obviously we get a nice strong pickup right there. But right now, obviously raining hard. As I said before, spoke with people in Beaver Dam, down to Muskego. Muskego, they are sending people home from some of the bars I spoke to. Beaver Dam, a lot of concern there, but they are starting to open back up. Back to you guys at the desk.
And something I noticed just watching his live shot right there, not many vehicles on the road. 11:20 on a Friday night, we would typically see more vehicles out there on the road, so people are staying off the road right now, it appears.
Yeah, and Mark did say that the tornado warnings, we are finished with them for the night, but you can see there is damage left behind from these storms. Looks like a uprooted tree, and that's in Dalton County, and we are seeing those. So we are seeing those lightning strikes, large hail. We have reports of damage out there. We are saying to not drive in this storm if you don't have to. A very fast-moving storm, heavy rain, strong winds, and those winds can do, as you see on your screen, a lot of damage.
Yeah, and Dalton is in Green Lake County. And Mark, I've been refreshing the We Energies map here just to see if outages have been going up. They've been holding steady. We're still up over 20,000 customers without service right now, but we're not seeing a significant jump at this point where we did earlier this evening when these storms really started to push through.
That's actually encouraging, and I was concerned we're going to see some big jumps. Let's hope it holds there. Give the We Energies crews, they can't hit out right away and take care of things while they still have all this ongoing lightning. It's dangerous. Lightning is dangerous. They're not going to be able to do this until this moves out. The good thing is it is moving out. I know if you're without power, it's no fun. Thankfully, it's cooler than it was, but it's still very, very sticky, and it won't be the nicest thing to be able to do that without air conditioning, but you should be able to open your windows. Really heavy rain, something we haven't talked about too much. Maybe too much of a good thing. Hopefully this doesn't go too. We did have a flash flood warning. It's still ongoing for Dane County, so covering Madison. The warning itself, the last severe thunderstorm warning we're going to get for the night is right here in Kenosha County into Racine County. That's for the end of the wind that really has been gusty all the way through. It really started probably in Dane County, picked up big time into Jefferson County. We had that nasty little notch on it as it moved through Mukwonago, moved through Waterford. That's where we had that tornado warning. That tornado warning has expired, and then it made its way into Kenosha. Again, though, the lightning isn't finished. The lightning and thunder continue. The rain will start tapering off. We'll get this all the way to move out, but that doesn't mean we're quite completely done with the lightning. Now, hopefully, we'll continue to move this rain out. It's a blessing in many ways. I know we've all been wanting to get rain. A lot of folks aren't very happy. It happened on a Friday night. A huge bike race that's going on in River West. There's, of course, German Fest happening. The good thing is the rest of the weekend is shaping up beautifully. We're going to watch this, though, along the border here, because that's still a whole lot of rain that's going to be coming down. This follows that west to east movement. So we're not quite done. A lot of spots. Dashi was just looking this up, telling me over an inch of rain in a very short period of time right here in the Milwaukee area as well. And so let's head back over to meteorologist Asia Aswad with any additional updates.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been commenting on our Facebook post about the severe weather that they're seeing in your area. We always want you to stay safe, so do that from a distance until that storm passes. Let us know what you've seen, how much rain you've gotten. Right now, just looking at our winds again, and radar indicated winds showing that we still have some very gusty conditions across portions of Racine and Kenosha County, and the radar just updated continues to push that out to the east. Once again, our severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 11:30, so we just have a few more minutes. And as this last bit of rain, as well as the last bit of the strong winds moves out, you still can anticipate images that we saw, some downed tree branches, power outages, all things to keep in mind. Going to take you back into the radar just to show you what we have going on across our area as a whole. Once again, improvements in places that Dario had called earlier, drying out in places like Beaver Dam, but still very much wet into Sheboygan. Still seeing some lightning across the area. So as Mark mentioned, there's a lot of activities going on. Just because the rain is letting up or it's not as breezy outside, just notice if you hear thunder or see lightning, you still want to stay indoors. We're going to continue to see this move out to the east, much of this near the lake. Earlier this week, we saw some boats being damaged across some of our southern counties. You definitely want to check up on your property because we're still seeing those strong winds once again pressing out across Racine and Kenosha here over the next, say, 5 minutes or so. So that's something to keep in mind. Don't go check on it now. Wait till the morning, which you can get some sunlight on it. We are continuing to see that rain and lightning into Milwaukee, definitely much lighter, and places like Brookfield also doing much better. Pewaukee and Waukesha still seeing some lightning, but much lighter on the rain. The focus now continues here across Racine, Caledonia, Sturtevant, as well as into Kenosha, Summers, Pleasant Prairie, Bristol coming out of the strongest of the winds, but still probably breezy there at the moment. This will all continue to push out to the east, and we'll be looking at some major improvements.